The space around Vexorion blazed with the light of battle. The combined fleet of Earth and its allies faced the concentrated might of the Zarthian hegemony. For 3 days, the fighting had raged without pause. Ships from both sides drifted as silent wrecks. The stars themselves seemed to dim behind the clouds of debris. Admiral Donovan's voice was rough from giving orders for 72 hours straight. "Status report," she demanded from the bridge of the U.S. Defiant. "Shields at 40%, her officer replied. 2 more Zarthian battleships just arrived from the outer system. Ambassador Reed, serving as strategic advisor, studied the holographic battle map. "We can't outlast them. We need to end this now." A communication signal flashed. Governor Nichols appeared on screen, his face streaked with soot. "Admiral, we've decoded the energy signature of their doomsday weapon. It's a modified version of precursor technology, designed to create a cascading reaction that will destroy our fleet and half the planet below." "Can we stop it?" Donovan asked. "Engineer Garcia thinks so. He needs to get a team aboard Zalthor's command ship." Donovan nodded grimly. "Then that's what we'll do." On the surface of Vexorion, the once perfect capital city burned. Enslaved species had risen up against their Zarthian masters. Millennia of oppression fueled their rebellion. In the Eternal Spire, Administrator Exalthor watched his empire collapse. His scales had turned a sickly gray. "Activate the weapon," he ordered. "Let them all burn." His officers hesitated. One spoke up. "Administrator, that would kill millions of our own people on the planet below. They are failures who allowed this rebellion." Telforist, "The hegemony must survive, whatever the cost." As his officers reluctantly obeyed, the battle outside reached its climax. Garcia's strike team, transported by one of Daniel Wright's experimental devices, appeared inside the Zarthian command ship. It fought their way toward the weapon control center, guided by Lumidian scans. "There it is," Garcia said, pointing to a pulsing core of energy unlike anything they'd seen before. Pure precursor technology, corrupted for destruction. His team set to work while human and allied ships provided a distraction outside, drawing fire away from their position. On the Defiant, Donovan received a surprising message. Dozens of new ships had arrived, but they weren't Zarthian reinforcements. These belonged to species that had never rebelled before, now inspired by humanity's example. "We stand with Earth," the message came. "For a free galaxy." The tide turned quickly after that. The Zarthian ships, surrounded and attacked from all sides, began to surrender one by one. Garcia's team disabled the doomsday weapon with moments to spare. They captured Xalthor as he attempted to flee in an escape pod. The final battle ended not with the destruction of a world, but with the birth of something new. 1 week later, representatives from 50 species gathered in the great hall that had once been Xalthor's throne room. A new galactic council was formed, with each species given equal voice. Ambassador Reed, now Counselor Reed, rose to address the gathering. For 10,000 years, the stars were ruled by fear and deception. Today we begin a new chapter, one written together, as equals. Xalthor, now a prisoner awaiting justice, was brought before the council. He looked at Reed with hatred. "How?" he demanded. "How did humans accomplish in decades what other species couldn't in millennia?" Reed smiled. "Because we never saw limitation, only possibility. Because we believe in something greater than power." She gestured to the diverse gathering of species, many of whom had been enemies just weeks before. "We believe in each other." As Xalthor was led away, Reed turned to her friends. Donovan, Garcia, Westfield, Wright, Martinez, Nichols, humans who had changed the course of galactic history. "What now?" Donovan asked. Reed looked out at the stars, stars that now belong to all species, not just one. "Now," she said, "we build something that will last longer than any empire. We build a future together." Administrator Xalthor's rage filled the grand chamber on Vexorion. The surviving captains of the Proxima attack knelt before him, their scales pale with fear. "You were defeated by humans and a handful of slave species," he hissed, his mouth tentacles writhing. "This is unacceptable." Captain Dresvon kept his 4 eyes lowered. "They had technology we've never seen before. They fought differently. Together." Silence. Talfor slammed his fist down. "Prepare the main fleet. We will crush this rebellion before it spreads. Target their homeworld directly. Let Earth burn as an example to all who would challenge us." As the Zarthian war machine mobilized, Dr. Olivia Westfield made a discovery that would change everything. Deep in her lab on Luna, she worked with Kristallos, a Lumidian scholar who had secretly studied ancient artifacts for centuries. "Look at this," Olivia said, pointing to code sequences in Zarthian technology. "These patterns don't match their language or thought structures." Kristallos hummed thoughtfully, her crystalline body glowing brighter. "You are right. The base technology is not Zarthian. I have suspected this for many cycles." Together, they dug deeper, comparing fragments from different Zarthian systems. The evidence became clear. The Zarthians hadn't invented their greatest technologies. They had stolen them from another race. "The precursors," Kristallos whispered. "An ancient species that vanished 12,000 years ago. The Zarthians didn't rise to power. They conquered the precursors and took their technology." Olivia immediately contacted Ambassador Reed. "The Zarthians are frauds. Their entire empire is built on stolen innovation." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Peter Martinez worked with Vesperi communication experts aboard the U.S. Defiant. Their mission: hack the hegemony's galaxy-wide communication network. "If we can broadcast the truth to all subjugated species at once," Martinez explained, "the Zarthian Empire could collapse from within." Admiral Donovan entered the communication center. "We need to hurry. Our scouts report the Zarthian main fleet is assembling. They're planning to attack Earth directly." Martinez looked up from his work. "Give me 12 more hours. We'll be ready." On Earth, Daniel Wright's team had completed the new FTL drive. Unlike previous versions, this one allowed for precision, jumps that the Zarthians couldn't track or predict. "Install them on every ship we have," Admiral Donovan ordered, "and share the designs with our allies." Samuel Garcia had his own breakthrough. The engineer had developed a weapon that targeted the specific frequency of Zarthian shields, making them far more vulnerable to attack. "We won't aim for their civilian populations," Donovan told her captains. "We target communication hubs and military installations only. We're not conquerors, we're liberators." As the human fleet prepared for the greatest battle in Earth's history, Martinez's team finished their work. With a final command, they'd broadcast their message across the hegemony's own network. Throughout thousands of worlds, beings of all species watched in shock as the truth was revealed. Images of ancient precursor artifacts, evidence of Zarthian deception, and proof that the mighty hegemony was built on theft and lies. For 10,000 years, the Zarthians have ruled through fear and deception. Ambassador Reed's voice declared across the stars. "They are not gods or rightful rulers. They are thieves who haven't truly innovated in millennia. Join us in creating a galaxy where all species work together as equals." As the message spread, uprisings began on hundreds of worlds. Ships from dozens of species broke away from hegemony control, turning against their former masters. Administrator Exalfor watched in horror as his empire began to crumble. Reports of rebellion flooded in from every sector. The mighty Zarthian hegemony, unchallenged for 10 millennia, was facing something entirely new: hope. "This changes nothing," he snarled to his commanders. "Crush Earth, and the rebellion dies. Prepare the doomsday weapon." The final battle for the galaxy was about to begin. The first shots of the battle lit up the darkness of space around Proxima Centauri. Zarthian warships emerged from light speed, their weapons already firing at the colony below. Energy beams sliced through the atmosphere, leaving glowing trails as they struck the surface. Captain Dresvon watched from the command ship. "Target their power stations and defense systems first," he ordered. "Then communication centers." His weapons officer obeyed, but moments later looked up in confusion. "Captain, our sensors show minimal damage." "The buildings appear to be empty." Dresvon leaned forward. "Scan again. Where are the colonists?" Before his officer could answer, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple ships approaching. Not just human vessels, unknown configurations. Admiral Donovan's voice came over all communication channels, broadcasting not just to the human ships, but to the Zarthian fleet as well. "Attention Zarthian vessels. This is Admiral Kate Donovan of Earth Defense Forces. You are firing on a peaceful settlement in violation of galactic law. Cease your attack immediately or face the consequences." On the Zarthian command ship, Dresvon laughed. "Brave words from a primitive species. Show them the consequences of defying the hegemony." Its ships turned their weapons toward the approaching Earth fleet. Massive energy cannons, capable of crippling vessels twice their size, fired in unison. But something impossible happened. The human ships performed short-range FTL jumps, blinking out of existence just before the weapons struck, then reappearing in new positions. "How?" Dresvon demanded. "No species has mastered tactical jumping." The human ships returned fire. Their weapons were less powerful than the Zarthian cannons, but they struck with precision, targeting shield generators and weapon systems. Then the Allied ships joined the attack. The Vesperi vessel released clouds of tiny drones that swarmed around Zarthian ships, disrupting their sensors. The Lumidian crystal ship emitted pulses that scrambled the telepathic communications between Zarthian crew members. The Naiad vessel released energy webs that slowed Zarthian engines. Dresvon watched in growing horror as his carefully planned assault fell into chaos. This is impossible. These species have never worked together before. On the U.S. Defiant, Admiral Donovan directed the battle with calm efficiency. "Focus fire on their lead ship. Garcia's modifications to our weapons should penetrate their shields." The Earth vessels coordinated their attack, firing simultaneously at the Zarthian command ship. The combined energy burst overwhelmed the shields, cutting deep into the hull. But the Zarthians were not easily defeated. Their remaining ships formed a defensive pattern and launched a devastating counterattack. 2 human vessels took heavy damage. One of the Vesperi ships exploded in a flash of light. "We can't outlast them," Donovan said grimly. "Implement Phase 2. Below on Proxima Colony, Governor Nichols received the signal. He activated the colony's true defenses. Massive weapon emplacements rose from hidden underground bunkers. The peaceful agricultural domes transformed, revealing military installations beneath. "Fire everything," Nichols ordered. The colony's weapons joined the space battle, catching the Zarthian fleet in a crossfire between the ground and the Allied ships. Dresvon's bridge shook as another hit landed. "We need reinforcements. Send a distress call to Hegemony Command." "Communications are being jammed," his officer reported. "We cannot reach." Another blast rocked the ship, cutting off his words. Dresvon made a difficult decision. "Order all ships to retreat. Jump to the rally point. We need to report this. Alliance to Administrator Vixal 4. As the damaged Zarthian ships flood the system, cheers erupted across the human and Allied vessels. They had won their first battle against the hegemony. But Admiral Donovan didn't join the celebration. "They'll be back," she told Ambassador Reed over a secure channel. "And next time, they'll bring their full might." Reed nodded solemnly. "Then we need to be ready." This was just the beginning. The atmosphere in the war room beneath Earth Command was tense. Admiral Donovan studied the holographic display showing Proxima Colony and the approaching Zarthian vessels. They had less than 24 hours before the enemy arrived. 6 warships, she said, mid-class destroyers with standard hegemony weaponry. We have 3 ships in range, and they're older models. Ambassador Reed nodded grimly. Our allies can provide 4 more vessels, but they'll need to use stealth approaches to avoid detection by other hegemony outposts. Engineer Garcia stepped forward. The good news is we finished adapting our shield technology to all ships. The Zarthians don't know about our improvements yet. And the weapon systems? Donovan asked. Not fully tested, Garcia admitted, but the simulations show they should penetrate Zarthian defenses. Daniel Wright looked up from his calculations. There's another factor. The new FTL drive allows for micro-jumps within a battle zone. Our ships can appear and disappear faster than their targeting systems can lock on. Dr. Westfield added, and I've been working with the Lumidians. Their crystalline communication technology can disrupt Zarthian telepathic coordination. Reed smiled for the first time that day. This is exactly why we'll win. Not because we have better ships or more firepower, but because we work together. Each species brings unique advantages. The door slid open, and General Howard Patterson entered, his face grim. The UN Security Council is ready. They're waiting for your briefing, Admiral. Donovan straightened her uniform. Let's go tell them we're about to fight the first interstellar war in human history. On the bridge of the Zarthian command ship, Captain Dresvon reviewed the attack plan. The mission was simple: destroy enough of the human colony to send a message, but leave survivors to spread fear. Scans show minimal defenses, his second reported. This will be a simple operation. Dresvon wasn't so certain. In his 300 cycles of service, he had never encountered a species like humans. They were unpredictable. Maintain full alert status, he ordered, and watch for any unusual activity. His second's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion. Captain, they are primitives. What threat could they pose to hegemony warships? The greatest mistake in warfare is underestimating your enemy, Dresvon replied. The reports from intelligence show humans adapt quickly. We must be prepared for surprises. Back at Proxima Colony, Governor Nichols supervised the final preparations. On the surface, everything appeared normal. Farmers tending fields, children playing in parks. But beneath the surface, the colony's true purpose hummed with activity. The last research files have been secured, his assistant reported. Critical personnel are ready for emergency evacuation. Nichols nodded. And the weapon systems? Online and hidden. The Zarthians won't see them until they're fired upon. A communication alert sounded. Admiral Donovan's face appeared on the screen. Governor, our fleet is en route. The Allied ships will arrive from 3 different vectors to confuse their sensors. Hold your position and maintain normal activity patterns until my signal. Understood, Admiral, Nichols replied. My people are ready. As night fell on Proxima Colony, children were ushered into underground shelters disguised as storage facilities. Defense personnel took their positions at hidden weapon emplacements. The colony's true face, a heavily armed research outpost, prepared for war. In deep space, the U.S. Defiant led Earth's small fleet toward the colony. Beside it, strange ships of non-human design moved in perfect formation. The insectoid Vesperi ship bristled with sensors. The crystalline Lumidian vessel pulsed with internal light. The streamlined Naiad craft moved like a sea creature through the void. Admiral Donovan sent a final encrypted message to her allies. Remember the plan. We hit them from multiple vectors. Use your species' unique advantages. Fight smart, not just hard. She took a deep breath and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. All ships, prepare for battle. Humanity's future begins today. 5 years passed since first contact. The stars that once seemed so distant now hosted human outposts. Zarthian ships still dwarfed the human fleet, but the gap was closing faster than anyone expected. Admiral Kate Donovan walked through the shipyard orbiting Earth, watching as workers fitted the new hybrid engines to the U.S. Defiant. Unlike pure Zarthian designs, these combined human innovation with alien materials. They were 15% more efficient than anything in the hegemony fleet. Beautiful, isn't she? Said a voice behind her. Donovan turned to see scientist Daniel Wright, his eyes bright with the energy of someone who rarely slept. His work on FTL theory had revolutionized human understanding of physics. "She'll be the fastest ship in this sector of space," Donovan said. "The Zarthians keep asking how we're advancing so quickly. They're not used to it." Daniel nodded. "They don't understand human collaboration. In their society, knowledge is power to be hoarded. We share it, improve it together." A message flashed on Donovan's wrist device. "It's from Proxima Colony. Governor Nichols wants to speak with us." Minutes later, they stood before a holographic projection of Frank Nichols, leader of humanity's first independent colony outside Zarthian oversight. "We've completed the underground research facility," Nichols reported. "The Zarthian observers have no idea it exists. We're ready to begin testing the new shield technology." "Good," Donovan said. "Keep it quiet. Official channels only show the agriculture projects." After the call ended, Daniel frowned. "The Zarthians are growing suspicious. Their observers are increasing around all our settlements." "Let them watch," Donovan said. "As long as they only see what we want them to see." Across the galaxy on Vexorian, Administrator Exalfor was not pleased. The reports from Earth sector were disturbing. 5 years ago, humans had been a curiosity. Now they were becoming a concern. How is this possible? He demanded of Hegemony Intelligence Director Zevlar. "They've established 7 colonies. Their ships now travel at speeds it took us centuries to achieve." Zevlar's 4 eyes blinked nervously. "They adapt our technology in ways we never considered. They share information freely among their population. No species has ever advanced this rapidly." "What about the limitation protocols? The technology we provided should have guided them along controlled development paths." "They've bypassed those limitations," Zevlar admitted. "They don't use our technology as given. They take it apart, understand the principles, then rebuild it their way." Zalfor's mouth tentacles writhed in anger. "This cannot continue. No species challenges the hegemony. What do you recommend?" "The humans have a colony on their nearest star system, Proxima Centauri. Our observers report it's merely an agricultural settlement, but it would make an effective example." "Prepare a fleet," Exalfor ordered. "Nothing too large. We don't want to provoke full-scale conflict yet, but enough to remind these humans of their place." Back on Earth, Captain Reed, now Ambassador Reed, received a coded message from one of her contacts in the Zarthian communication network. The Lumidian crystal being had risked much to send the warning. Reed immediately called Admiral Donovan and the others to an emergency meeting. "They're targeting Proxima Colony," she told them. "A Zarthian battle group will arrive in 3 days. Proxima has minimal defenses," Donovan said, "but it houses our most advanced research facility. We can't let them discover what we're working on there," Daniel added. "And we can't evacuate without showing our hand," Samuel Garcia pointed out. Reed looked at each of them. "Then we have to fight, not just us, but with help." She activated a secure channel. 3 alien faces appeared, representatives of species long dominated by the Zarthians. "My friends," Reed said, "the time we've prepared for has come sooner than expected. Are your ships ready?" The insectoid Vesperi clicked its mandibles. "We stand with humanity." "As do we," hummed the crystalline Lumidian. The aquatic naiad burbled agreement through its translator. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Zarthian hegemony would face a united opposition. The stars were about to change hands. Dr. Olivia Westfield squinted at the holographic display floating above her lab table. 3 months had passed since first contact, and the Zarthians had shared limited biological data as a gesture of goodwill. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, Olivia had been studying it day and night. "Something doesn't add up," she muttered, rotating the DNA-like structure of Zarthian genetic material. She compared it to the database of Earth species. They claim to be the most evolved species in the galaxy, but their cellular repair mechanisms are less efficient than ours. Across the Luna Defense Installation, Engineer Samuel Garcia was having similar doubts. He pulled apart the advanced power cell the Zarthians had gifted to humanity. Its construction was impressive, but the basic principles weren't as revolutionary as the aliens had suggested. They're using the same quantum coupling we theorized 5 years ago, he told his team. They just have better materials. But the design. He pointed to the inner workings. It's inefficient, like they haven't improved it in centuries. A secure communication channel opened on his workstation. Olivia's face appeared, looking excited. Sam, I need to show you something. Can you come to Biolab 3? 20 minutes later, Samuel stood beside Olivia as she displayed the Zarthian evolutionary pathway. Look at this, she said, pulling up a comparison chart. Zarthians evolved on a high-gravity world with intense radiation. It made them physically resilient and pushed them toward technological development early. That tracks with their head start, Samuel nodded. But here's the thing, Olivia continued. Their evolution hit a plateau about 15,000 years ago. They stopped adapting. Meanwhile, humans are still evolving. Our brains are more plastic, more adaptive. We solve problems differently. Samuel's eyes widened. That's why their technology feels stagnant. They haven't truly innovated in millennia. They've just been refining the same designs. A knock at the door interrupted them. Captain Reed entered, looking tired after weeks of serving as humanity's first ambassador to the galactic community. You two look like you've seen a ghost, she said. Not a ghost, a facade, Olivia replied. The Zarthians aren't as advanced as they want us to believe. Reed's expression darkened. That matches what I've discovered. The hegemony isn't a peaceful federation. It's an empire. Most species are essentially slaves. Resource worlds, labor pools, or military conscripts. She lowered her voice. And there's more. I've made contact with representatives from other subjugated species. They say the hegemony has a pattern. When a new species advances too quickly, accidents happen. Colonies disappear. Research stations suffer catastrophic failures. Samuel ran a hand through his hair. They eliminate potential rivals. And based on what the Zarthian ambassador tells me, they think we're advancing too quickly, Reed said. They expected us to be grateful for their gifts of outdated technology. Instead, we're already improving on their designs. Olivia pulled up another display. They don't understand us. Human creativity, our drive to question everything. It's not just cultural, it's biological. We evolved as problem solvers. They evolved as maintainers of the status quo. The three looked at each other, the weight of their discovery settling on them. So what do we do? Samuel asked. If we push too hard, we could provoke them. Their ships still outgun us. For now, Reed said, but not forever. Not at the rate we're learning. She straightened her uniform. We play their game. We act grateful. We pretend to be the primitive species they expect, while building our strength, Olivia added. And making friends, Reed said. The Zarthians have ruled through division. Species fighting for the hegemony's favor, never uniting against it. Until now, Samuel said, understanding dawning in his eyes. Reed nodded. Until humanity arrived. We need to move carefully, but quickly. The Zarthians have had their age of stars. Now it's our turn. Captain Allison Reed gripped the edge of her command chair as the U.S. Endeavour emerged from the experimental FTL jump. The bridge crew erupted in cheers as the red planet Mars filled their view screen. We did it, whispered Lieutenant Peter Martinez at the communication station. First faster-than-light jump in human history. Captain Reed allowed herself a small smile. After years of secret development, the Alcubierre drive had worked perfectly. Humanity had broken the light barrier. Begin system diagnostics, she ordered, and prepare to transmit success codes back to Earth control. The celebration lasted exactly 47 seconds. Captain, Lieutenant Martinez's voice cracked. Massive object appearing in orbit. The view screen shifted to show something impossible. a vessel that dwarfed their ship by a factor of hundreds. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent material no human had ever seen. Strange symbols pulsed along its hull. Battle stations, Reed ordered calmly, though she knew their weapons would be useless against something of that size. Lieutenant Martinez, open all frequencies. Let's see if they want to talk. The bridge fell silent as an alien transmission filled their communication system. The sound was like nothing human ears had heard before. Clicks, whistles, and deep vibrations that seemed to bypass their eardrums and resonate directly in their skulls. Then, impossibly, it shifted to perfect English. Attention human vessel. This is Ambassador Krevnar of the Zarthian hegemony. Your achievement of faster-than-light travel has been noted. Prepare to receive our delegation for first contact protocols. Before Reed could respond, a shimmer of light appeared on the bridge. The crew reached for weapons as the air distorted, revealing 3 tall figures. The central alien had purple-scaled skin, 4 blinking eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and mouth tentacles that moved with each breath. 2 larger aliens flanked it, clearly guards with metallic armor fused to their bodies. "I am Captain Allison Reed of Earth," she said, rising slowly from her chair. "You're aboard the U.S. Endeavor." The alien's mouth tentacles quivered. "I am Ambassador Krevnar. Your achievement is unexpected. Our observations indicated your species was at least a century from developing such technology." Reed exchanged glances with Commander Jack Simmons, her executive officer. They had been washed. "We tend to surprise ourselves sometimes," Reed said carefully. "May I ask how long you've been observing Earth?" "Your planet has been monitored for approximately 1,200 of your years," Krevnar stated matter-of-factly. "Standard protocol for pre-spaceflight worlds. Your species was categorized as unremarkable until this development." Simmons stiffened beside Reed. She placed a warning hand on his arm. "What happens now?" Reed asked. "Now you will be integrated into the hegemony," Krevnar said, as if explaining something obvious. "Your world will become a protectorate. Your resources and labor will serve the greater galactic community. In exchange, you will receive technology and protection." "That sounds more like subjugation than partnership," Simmons muttered. The ambassador's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You misunderstand. This is an honor. The Zarthian hegemony rules 10,000 worlds. We have guided the galaxy for 10 millennia. Your primitive species now has the privilege of joining our civilization." Reed maintained her diplomatic expression, while subtly signaling Simmons with a hand gesture they had developed years ago. *Record everything. Secure channel to Earth *. "We'd like to learn more about the hegemony," Reed said pleasantly. "Our people will need to understand what integration means." "Of course," Krevnar said. "Your species requires time to process. Primitive minds often struggle with new concepts." As Krevnar began explaining the wonders of Zarthian civilization, Reed noticed something odd. Despite their advanced technology, the aliens' attitude seemed outdated, arrogant, like a colonial power from Earth's own troubled past. Simmons caught her eye and nodded slightly. The secure transmission was away. Earth would know they weren't alone in the universe, and that their first neighbors weren't friendly. Reed smiled at the ambassador, playing for time. Humanity would need every second to prepare for what was coming. The Zarthian observation post above Earth had been silent for nearly a century. It was one of thousands scattered across the galaxy, monitoring primitive worlds that might one day join the great hegemony. Not that they would have a choice. Administrator Gazalthor stood on the shimmering platform at the heart of the eternal spire on Vexorian. His scaled skin gleamed purple in the light of the triple suns. Below him stretched the capital city, a marvel of engineering that had remained largely unchanged for 5,000 cycles. Why change perfection? "Status report," Exalfor commanded, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Officer Mezalar bowed deeply. "The hegemony remains stable, Administrator. 14 new species have been added to the protectorate system this cycle, Resource extraction exceeds quotas by 12%. Zolthor's mouth tentacles curled in satisfaction. For 10,000 cycles, the Zarthians had ruled the stars. Their telepathic abilities and advanced technology made them gods to the lesser species they encountered. Some were useful, strong backs, unique biological compounds, rare minerals on their homeworlds. Others were simply too primitive to bother with, like the humans of Earth. And what of Sector 7G? Any developments? Zolthor asked, more from routine than interest. The usual, Administrator. The humans continue their internal conflicts. They've developed crude fission technology and basic space travel, but nothing approaching interstellar capability. Observation suggests they'll destroy themselves before reaching that threshold. Zolthor nodded. It was the same with many species. They burned brightly with potential, then extinguished themselves before they could truly join the galactic community. The strong survived. The Zarthians had proven their worthiness eons ago. Alert me if anything changes, he said dismissively, already turning his attention to reports from the mineral-rich Orion sector. 3 days later, the alert came. Zolthor was awakened from his regeneration cycle by the urgent pulse of his neural implant. He connected to the central command network immediately. Report, he demanded. Science Director Vexnar's face appeared in his mind. Administrator, we've detected an anomaly from Earth. Their primitive monitoring systems can't detect it, but our long-range scanners show they've achieved faster-than-light travel. Impossible, Zolthor said. Our last assessment gave them at least a century before such advancement. The data is verified, Administrator. A small vessel disappeared from their orbit and reappeared near their fourth planet in under 2 seconds. The energy signature confirms it was not conventional propulsion. Zolthor felt something unfamiliar, a twinge of concern. The hegemony protocols were clear. Any species achieving FTL capability required immediate contact and integration, or elimination if they refused. How? Their technological progress doesn't support this development. Unknown. Our models show they should be decades away from the theoretical understanding, let alone practical application. Zolthor's mind raced. Rapid advancement like this was unprecedented. In all recorded history, no species had skipped developmental stages as the humans apparently had. It suggested innovation, a dangerous quality the hegemony worked hard to manage among subject races. Prepare Ambassador Krevnar for immediate deployment. I want a first contact team assembled within the day. Full diplomatic protocol, but ensure the military contingent is ready if needed. It will be done, Vexnar confirmed. Left alone, Zolthor moved to the viewing platform overlooking the ancient city. For 10 millennia, the Zarthians had encountered hundreds of alien species. All had either been subjugated or contained. None had surprised them. Yet these humans had just done the impossible. The thought was disturbing, but Zolthor quickly dismissed it. Even with FTL capability, humans would be no match for the hegemony. They would join the galactic community as servants, like all others before them. Computer, display Earth, he commanded. The blue-green planet appeared, floating in the darkness. Such an unremarkable world. How could they have advanced so quickly? No matter. Soon, they would understand their place in the universe, under Zarthian rule, as was proper. He had no way of knowing that this routine integration would shake the foundations of the hegemony itself.